Hello, my name is Ben.
And my name's Josh.
Welcome back to FPL Graduates and welcome back to another video where we're off the back of Cole Palmer saving everyone's weeks. We're going to go into a game week 16 wildcard team because I myself have finally hit that wildcard button. So I'm going to go through my first draft with you guys and get some opening thoughts. So without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Okay, then so we're going to start off in Ben's defence. So currently he's got David Raya in goal. Obviously, the double up of Arsenal defence is something that we think's going to be quite paramount going forwards. I know they obviously conceded to Fulham, but in that game they didn't really concede too many chances at all. Raya and Gabriel is the double up at the moment. Obviously, Gabriel did miss out of the squad against Fulham. We should get an update in the middle of the week. Obviously, they've got Champions League football, but if you're going to pick any Arsenal defender, Gabriel is usually the best because he's got the best attacking threat. Obviously, if he's not going to be fit, I'm sure Ben will move him to Saliba, Timber, either or. They're all pretty good options at that price. Lewis Hall is up next. I think he's probably one of the best defenders over the short term at that sort of price range at 4.5 million. Newcastle have been shipping goals, but I think defensively they are relatively sound. The underlying data does suggest that as well. The only sort of caution I would have with him at the moment is that Trippier did come on for him in the 83rd minute against Brentford. I don't think it's going to be a concern for that Leicester game, but maybe a little bit longer term that could be a problem. And then Lewis Dunk up last in that defence. Crystal Palace at home for Brighton this week. They've been so unlucky. I think the last three games they've conceded to lose their clean sheet in like 85 minutes plus in the last 3 weeks. So hopefully Ben can jump on that when they're just going to start getting some clean sheets. So yeah, what's the thought process behind picking those guys, Ben?
Yeah, the initial thought process really is that we're not seeing many clean sheets at all. So better to sort of not waste too many funds in the defence. Obviously, we've got those cheaper defenders in Dunkel and Colwill on the bench, as well as sort of the Harwood Bellis at 4 million. So not spending too much on them and sort of doubling up on the price, which I think is the defence that's the best in the league. And that's what I've done here. Like Josh alluded to, yes, if Gabriel isn't fit, it will go to Timber. I think he's looked fantastic. Saliba obviously 2 goals in the last 2 games, which is unheard of with Saliba in general because it's usually Gabriel that's getting them. But yeah, no issues or worries at all there with the defence. Like there's a couple of sort of other options that I could go for. I could look at sort of the Villa defence, but again, sort of not one to be too well trusted over sort of the first period of the season so far. Okay, so moving on into the midfield, and you can see where the structure has changed slightly for me, where I've previously had 2 midfield premiums and 1 striker premium. It's now gone across to those 3 midfielders in Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, and Bukayo Saka. Salah and Palmer are non-negotiables in terms of having them on your wildcard team. The fixtures are so good over the Christmas period, and they're just going to get all the minutes going forward. Morgan Rogers at that price point thinks the best option still. Bukayo Saka's fixtures look fantastic. I don't think you should be too put off by that blank against Fulham in game week 15. On another day, he would have come away with a haul. So, yeah, not too much to worry about there. Semenyo's sort of the only question mark in that team. I could upgrade that position all the way to someone like Matoma if I wanted to. But it's just a case that I'm going to sort of see if any sort of options do emerge over the sort of coming days and coming game weeks. And that one's sort of the fairly flexible position at the moment. Josh, what's your thoughts there on the midfield?
Yes, it's obviously interesting that you're switching the structure. Obviously, everyone's been on the midfield structure for a while. Haaland's obviously scoring, so it'll be interesting to see whether that works out longer term. I think it's interesting because I think a lot of managers will try and get Erling Haaland in a couple of weeks' time. So it's going to be how flexible you are to be able to move to that structure if he does start bagging goals, which I think he will do personally. Salah and Palmer, like you say, yeah, non-negotiable, should I say. I think even Palmer this week could be a better captaincy shout than Salah. I think Fulham defensively have looked really solid all season. They proved that against Arsenal. Brentford away from home, horrendously defensively. So, I agree with Rodgers as well. I think at that price, you can't get much better. As long as you have like a good rotation piece, which you do in João Pedro, I think having that sort of dynamic, having Rodgers not having to play every single game is great. And yeah, like you say, Bukayo Saka really unlucky in game week 15. Could have come away, 10 plus points. I guess, people who captained him over Palmer would be coming away super, super unlucky last week. But overall, Saka still a fantastic option in your FPL sides. Okay, so going into Ben's forward line, he's gone with Alexander Isak, who for me has returned 2 weeks in a row now. Fantastic form and arguably some of the best fixtures in the league for any forward going into the next couple. For me, like he's almost on the same level as Palmer and Salah if you're a wild card, and he's almost a non-negotiable. Cunha's an interesting one, still sticking with him. Obviously, you've owned him before then. The fixtures for Wolves are probably the reason why. I think it's Ipswich and then I think maybe Leicester after that. So yeah, really nice fixtures for Wolves over the next 3. It does obviously get really poor after that. They seem to go on a nice run, then a really bad run after that. So yeah, I think overall those 2 strikers, obviously with João Pedro as well, backing them up, who's fantastic value, is really good options. What's the thoughts on those?
Yeah, I mean, like the obvious omission in being Erling Haaland, and the plan is to have 4 or 5 free transfers by the time game week 18 rolls around, and I've got the opportunity to bring him in, which I think should hopefully put me in a strong point going into that game week. Wildcarding now means I can sort of load up on those players that I think is going to do well, minutes secure, and hopefully sort of go through without any injuries. So yeah, Alexander Isak and Cunha up top gives me a bit of value to go into Haaland with when I want to do it. Which I think is key there. Like I could foreseeably sort of downgrade Cunha to like a Chris Wood or someone like that and put funds sort of into the midfield elsewhere. But I'm just very aware of making sure that I have those funds when it needs to happen, that I can get Haaland in. So I'm almost planning this wild card for the next 3, 4, 5 game weeks, something like that, before going into that New Year period and having that wild card again. So yeah, it's almost sort of like a bit more of a mini wild card. There's not actually, too many changes in terms of my actual team. You're probably looking at about, at the moment, 5 to 6 transfers, something like that, which is not huge for a wild card by any means. But I do think it just sorts the structure out and gives me a plan going forward that means that hopefully over the next 3 to 4 game weeks, won't have to make any transfers at all and could be in really good position to bring in Haaland, like post that sort of Christmas period.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I think a couple of players, like you can even get Fabianski in there at 4 mil for a backup keeper. Worst case scenario, move Raya into defence. I know some of the guys in the Patreon mentioned that about having Timber and then a cheaper keeper, maybe Verbruggen, which is definitely something you could look at as well for more attacking threat, which is cool. But yeah, overall, I think it looks really solid. Like you say, it's almost like a mini wild card because you haven't got that long until you're going to get your next one anyway. So yeah, almost just sets you up for those next few weeks before it starts turning into the new year. Okay, then, so that wraps up Ben's current wildcard draft. We're recording this on Sunday night just after Chelsea have played, so this will definitely change by the end of the week. You'll be able to catch Ben's closest to final draft by the end of the week when we do our team reveal, so make sure you subscribe and look out for that.
Yeah, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the FPL Graduates. I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
We'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week, everyone.
So you may rise, but you'll